All right, so now that I'm wanting to create a pattern, I can go up here to the pattern tool. I can also go to create pattern. I can see them here. The three, rectangular, circular, and pattern on path, are all standard features. The geometric pattern, you need to have an add-on turned on to use that one. So we're not going to discuss it in these videos. But if I pick any one of these three, it's going to take me to the same box, just the different options selected. So you can always just come back to those by going to the pattern button here in the rectangular pattern, start it up, and then pick which one you want. So right now we're going to use rectangular pattern. And within this, we have the choice of patterning bodies, faces, features, or components. The most useful ones are either features or components usually. You want to either pattern the whole feature or the whole component or an individual feature on that component. So I'm going to pick feature. You can either pick it from here on the object, or you can come down and pick it from the timeline. And then you can go in and tell it what axis you want to pattern along. So axis, and I pick that line there. You can see that as I adjust this, the number underneath that first distance changes. Right now it's measuring from the start to the same point on the last one. I'm gonna have it set to extents. That's maybe okay if you want to have like a 3-inch area and you want to fill it equally within that space. And you don't really care about the spacing in between each individual thing. You can do that, but usually you want to change that to spacing, so we can define the spacing between each one. You can use this to expand. Little handle here. You can kind of pull one way to add more instances, pull another way to reduce number of instances. You can see the spacing between them stays the same, just adds more or less. If I go down to axis 2 and I add any kind of value there, you can see now it's going to come out and it chose to go that way. So if that's not the way I want it, I can hold control, since the axis is still selected here, hold control, pick there. Now it's going to come down, and sometimes it'll flip the direction like that, so I just need to change the distance there. Come down, and now I can adjust of all of that thing. So I can say OK and put those in. I can also turn on suppression and turn off a few. I don't want those two right there. Say OK. Now I have that pattern. I can also do the same thing here. So if I grab the whole, I pick my axis. Maybe I want a pattern that's centered on the part. So for direction, I'm going to tell it symmetric, and whether I do one or more. See, if I just do symmetric in one direction, it's symmetric this way, off that way. If I add an odd or an even number, then it doesn't really center. It has to be an even number if your first thing is in the center of it. Also tell it symmetric in that direction there. Say OK. Now it'll put those. So that's kind of the basics of doing the pattern. We can also pattern using those, having a direction that's not on the part, not 90 degrees to each other for the pattern. Let's say I have these holes here. A couple ways I can do it. One is I can create a plane at an angle. I want this now to have a 45-degree line there, so I can do that. Now I can do an axis between two planes, that plane and that plane. Now I have a line here, and I can go back and that pattern. 4 of those. I can edit that, and for that second pattern for my axis, I can just hold control, grab that line there. Now you can see the second direction is going, first direction is going this way, second direction is going along that angle. I can get the pattern like that. I could also do that if I didn't have those there. I could create a sketch, do the same thing, define a line of some kind, mention it, up to 30 so we can see a difference, and just kind of give it some length, maybe come all the way to be once to that edge to lock it down. Now when I edit that sketch, go to axis, hold control, pick that line there, and it's going to go in. So I can do either way with just a sketch, drawing a line, or by using construction geometry. I usually prefer the construction geometry just because I'll add in a whole nother folder here that I can turn on and off. Otherwise, that sketch, it didn't consume it, so I need to go back in and make sure I turn off that sketch, so I don't try and use that sketch again for something else. All right.